Satan cannot create, he can only pervert. You need to get that. It wasn't as if God created the universe and then Satan came along and said, I want to ensnare people, so I'll create something better like sex and sexual pleasure that will draw people away. No. God created sex. God created sexual pleasure. Satan cannot create. He can only pervert what God has already created. He has no game. He's simply a pretender. He's a liar. He's a deceiver. All he has to work with is what God has already made. Now, I've always said that, but I found a passage in C.S. Lewis's book, Screwtape Letters, that says it much better than that. So I'm going to read it for you now. C.S. Lewis's book, Screwtape Letters. How many have read the Screwtape Letters, by the way? Okay, a few of you. Good. It's a book C.S. Lewis wrote where the main character is Screwtape. He's a devil. And he's got a nephew, Wormwood, that he's mentoring and discipling in how to distract and destroy Christians. So you kind of got to reverse your thinking because the enemy is God. And so when he talks about the enemy, he's actually talking about God. And when he talks about good things and winning things and good strategies, he's actually talking about demonic strategies. And so you kind of got to flip your mind around. It's a very well-written piece. Duh, obviously. Understatement of the universe. Me telling C.S. Lewis, oh, pretty good piece. Yeah, well done. I recognize that sounded stupid, so I had to say that. He's an amazing author. I mean, world-renowned author. In the book Screwtape Letters, Screwtape is frustrated and appalled about the enemy, who is, of course, God, and that he is actually out to make people happy. And that frustrates him, that he's out to actually make people happy. And that all the parts of his plan that don't seem like as fun, the disciplines and the restrictions, are actually clever ruses and deceptions of the enemy to increase his people's happiness. He says as follows, and I quote, "Our enemy is actually a hedonist at heart," sniffs Screwtape. All of those fasts and vigils and stakes and crosses, those are only a facade. Or only like foam on the seashore. Out at sea, out on his sea, there is pleasure and more pleasure. He makes no secret of it. At his right hand are pleasures evermore, as he writes in that blasted book of his. He's vulgar, Wormwood. He has a Bergoglius mind. He has filled the world full of pleasures. He goes on. Never forget then that when we are dealing with any pleasure, Wormwood, in its healthy and normal and satisfying form, we are, in a sense, on the enemy's ground. Or on God's ground, right? You tracking? I know we have won many a soul through pleasure. All the same, Wormwood, it is his invention, not ours. He made the pleasures. All our research so far has not enabled us to produce a one. All we can do is to encourage the humans to take the pleasures which our enemy has produced at times or in ways or in degrees which he has then forbidden. Hence, we always try to work away from the natural condition of any pleasure to that in which it is least natural, least redolent of its maker, and least pleasurable. Here it is. In ever increasing craving for an ever diminishing pleasure. Now that is the formula for success. Are you hearing the enemy's strategy? In ever increasing craving for an ever diminishing pleasure is the formula. And that's exactly what's going on in our culture today. The law of diminishing returns, a natural and good and God-created appetite being lusted after to be fulfilled in all of the wrong places, in all of the wrong ways, and it only seeks to create in us a deeper hunger because it's not satisfying, so we buy the stupid magazine the next month, and the next month, and the next month. An ever-increasing hunger for an ever-decreasing pleasure. The result is that our world is full of anxiety, anger, fear, confusion, condemnation, despair, pain, panic attacks, addictions, denial, sleep disturbances, insecurities, and embarrassments, largely connected to buying the lie that Satan has sold us, in which we have swallowed hook, line, sinker in relationship to this area of sexuality.